Hey guys, it's Kaitlin. Welcome back to another cozy journaling video. In today's video, we're just gonna be sitting down together, getting super casual, and essentially I wanted to take you along with me as I plan out my bullet journal setup for 2024. I was on a trip over Christmas and into New Year's, so normally I would have my planning session a little earlier in the month, if not in December, so that I could start the year on January 1st in my new bullet journal, but this year I was traveling, so it's been pushed back, but it's not too late. If you also haven't set up your journal, maybe we can do it together, and if you have your journal set up, cool, maybe you can like body double with me and hang out, and we can just talk journaling and bullet journal setups together. So that is what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna take out some paper. I like to plan on paper, shock of the century. This is just a old notebook. This is just a dot grid traveler's notebook insert that I had lying around from a couple years ago. I didn't finish it, so whenever I don't finish inserts, I like to use them as scrap paper so that I can still use the notebook as best as possible. So I just have a blank page here. I'm gonna grab a pen and a pencil, and no, I think I have an eraser. I'm good to go. And yeah, we're just gonna sit down and plan things out. So I'm just gonna write at the top here, bullet journal setup. And we're gonna get started. Okay, so now I can get going. So for my bullet journal setup this year, I have been kind of thinking about it for a little while. Every time I set up a new bullet journal, I always like to give myself the month of December to start thinking about the different spreads and things that I would want in my journal. So I kind of have a couple ideas in my head that I'm gonna write down, but I didn't just get these ideas as I'm sitting with you planning all this stuff. And I think this year I'm gonna keep it super simple for my planning. Every year I plan out my migration differently. Sometimes it's really reflective. And this year I think I just want to really focus on listing out the spreads I need, making sure I'm covering my bases and that they cover the different things I want to do and intentions I have for this year. And yeah, then I'm just gonna figure out how I'm gonna do that in my journal. So I think what I'm gonna do first is just gonna focus on the anatomy. So I'm gonna write that down first here. So for the anatomy, and I guess like the actual like journal itself, I'm going to be using a passport bullet journal. I know that already. And I actually have the journal I'm gonna use. It's a passport Narita Airport Black TN, which I'm really excited about. I'll put a photo here while I'm writing. And so I'm gonna use a passport TN. I just want the flexibility. I like the small size, and I like with traveler's notebooks, or at least I have been liking, that you can switch out the inserts and customize them a lot without having to actually change your system. And something I want to focus on this year is sticking in the same system. So like traveler's notebooks, I want to focus on being in traveler's notebooks, but then allowing myself to change things out like covers and wallets and stuff like that, so that I can make changes when I want to get something new or kind of release that boredom, but I'm not jumping into a new notebook. So that's kind of why I'm going to be doing the passport bullet journal this year. And I'm going to be using an annual book. So I'll write 2 book system, which is going to be 1 annual book and 1 quarterly book. And I got this idea from Lindsay Scribbles. So essentially I want to have 2 books at all times in my traveler's notebook, 1 annual book, which is going to be those collections that will span and apply to the whole year. These are things that would either, I think, like, you know, you're tracking something that is the whole year and you don't want to have to reset up the trackers every time you start a new notebook. And also I'm going to be using this annual book to house reference information that I don't want to have to, again, keep copying out in every book. And I think that's going to work really well. And then the quarterly book, or it might not be every quarter, it'll just be when I finish the book, will be kind of the key spreads in the bullet journal. So it'll be my monthly calendar, my monthly log, my weekly logs, and my daily logs, and then random collections. And then the annual book will have that kind of key reference information. So that's what I'm thinking for the actual key system itself. And I think that's all for like the actual anatomy that I need to write down. Now I'm gonna go in and write my annual book spreads, because that's really the key thing that I want to plan out. I know for my quarterly books, it's going to be a monthly log, it's going to be a weekly log, it's going to be a daily log, and it's going to repeat. But for this annual book, I want to think about how I want to set that up, because that is super key. And I'm just going to go ahead and list them down, and then I'll take you through what I'm thinking for this. Okay, so I wrote down my annual book spreads I'm thinking of setting up. How I like to approach this is I like to really write down the spreads that I know I'm gonna need and use. I don't wanna set up things that I might not need. I kind of figure later down the line, if I need it, I can set it up as I go. And that's the really great thing about having the annual book, is you're able to keep all those spreads together in one place. So these are just things that are kind of I'm thinking essentials. I know I need them and they're important to me. The first is gonna be my index. I wrote here master bracket year index. What this means is I want to use this index to be an index of my annual collections, but also I want it to be something I can reference so I can know what I put in my quarterly books. So this is going to be the master index for all of the books I use in 2024. I'm going to have a future log, and I just wrote here 1 spread per season. I've done future logs where I put the entire year on a couple of pages, and I find for myself, I've noticed I actually think about the year more in quarters or seasons. So in 3-month intervals that go out throughout the year 4 times. And I think I want my future log to reflect that. So I think I'm gonna have a kind of spread for my future log for each season. And for each spread, I think I'm gonna have in there, maybe I'll write this down. I wanna have, here. I wanna have both events and my like task list for the season. So the way I think of my future log, obviously it's for future events. That's like super, super key. But also I like to kind of start to fill in those tasks or projects that I do that either is something I need to do that month that's like scheduled ahead of time, or also those seasonal tasks that you need to do every single year. So for my future log, we'll have that event and then that task list. And then I think I will have, after my future log, it's also kind of a future log, but future plus, just a page for those future events that go outside the year, because sometimes that happens, especially when I go to like the dentist and they book you an appointment a year from when you've gone. So that I find is really helpful. Hobbies. So these are my hobbies collections. I started this, I think, a year or two ago, and I've done it in different ways, but essentially I really like to write down and track what things I've consumed in the year, whether that be books, restaurants, video games, movies, music. So I want to have a space where I can write down the different books, food, video games, TV shows, movies, and albums that I discover throughout the year. And then the last one here is new for me. This is a health tracker. This year I got a couple colds throughout the year, and I thought it would be interesting next year to just kind of have a space where I could record and track if and when I got sick, so I could see overall throughout the year what that looked like, if I got sick a lot, if I didn't, if I got sick during certain periods of the year, what periods were those? You know, maybe I got sick a lot more in the fall and winter, so I thought it would be helpful to have something like that in there. And I think that's going to be the key ones that I want to put in the annual book. I am kind of thinking about maybe having a page for stat holidays so that I know the days that I won't be working. But I also think I could put that in my future log, so I don't know if I want to recreate two spreads that kind of do the same thing, because I think ideally I'd just be putting those stat holidays in the future log. So I think I'm going to leave that out for now, but maybe I'll add it in later if I want kind of that overview of the information in one place. Who knows? But yeah, so that's the annual book spreads. I'll also just write down for you, so you know, I know, but now you know, the quarterly book spreads. So for this, I'm gonna have an index. I only index key collections. I don't index like when I did my monthly log, daily logs, anything like that. It's only for like information that's referenceable outside of that. So this would be like random notes I take. I'm gonna have my monthly logs. So those I will populate from the future log as each month comes in. I have my weekly logs, which I use for tasks and habit tracking. So I actually don't track my habits right now in my monthly logs. I found that for me, for the kinds of habits I track, tracking them on a weekly basis is more effective for me, for what I track. Daily logs, of course. I love my daily logs. And then collections. So collections or notes, really. In bullet journaling, we refer to these as collections, but essentially it's just like a note that is contained within a certain topic. So that is the collections there. So that is the plan for that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna grab some sticky notes and write out the annual book spreads. I'm not sure which notebook I'm gonna use for my bullet journal yet this year. I'm kind of between Traveler's Notebook inserts and Good Impressions. I'm still deciding, but the next step for me is gonna be writing these out so that I can like stick them on the pages of the notebook so I know which page has which spread. I'm not gonna do that right now, but I will show you how I write out my sticky notes so you can see that. So I went ahead and wrote out the different spreads. So I have my sticky notes ready. Because I don't know the notebook, I'll just show you, I guess, on this book what I would do. So I would essentially have these ready, and I can actually show you the order I think I'm gonna do these. So I will do my index first. I'm gonna do my future log second, and I just put these on two different sticky notes because I think I'm going to use the left page for dates and then like the right page for tasks, so that's why I did it like that. And I did like each month that I'm going to do my future log. So I would do, let's move these up. So I'm going to do my index first, my future logs second. Actually, this is a good way to plan it out before I even go into the book. So that's cool. Future log second, Future Plus log. Then I'm gonna do my different hobbies, so like food, games. I've run out of space, so I'll just go over here. Books, TV shows, and albums. And then, oh, I forgot my health tracker. Okay, so health tracker I'm gonna put after my Future Plus, I think. So I'll move all of these down. So we'll do food, books, sure, games, TV shows, movies, and then albums. So that's kind of the order. I mean, it would actually be like this if I like took it off the piece of paper so you can see. That would be the order that I would take here for all these spreads. So that's kind of the plan. I think what I'll also do now quickly is I'm gonna write down the amount of pages I think I need for all of these. So master index, I think I'm gonna say 1 to 2 here. I'm not sure if I'd need 2, but it might be good for just to make sure. And you know what, I'm actually just gonna write this on the piece of paper. So this is gonna be 1 to 2 pages. Each of these is gonna be 2 pages. This is gonna be 1 page. This is gonna be 1 page. And I think I'm gonna use, I'll write this here, number 104 printout from Peanuts Planner Co. Because I don't wanna draw this. Although I might, we'll see. Food log, I think I could keep on, I'm gonna say 1 to 2 pages. Book log, probably 1 page. Game log, definitely 1 page. Actually, I'm gonna say 1 to 2 for book log. TV and movies, so for TV, it's gonna be 1 page. Movies, 2. And then album log, that can be 1 page. Okay, so I think I'm ready to roll now. I know what spreads I'm gonna do, I know the order, how many pages I want, so all I have to do now is just take my sticky notes, put them into the new book, and then set up the journal. So that is all I'm gonna be doing for my planning today. I hope you enjoyed seeing my process and how I kind of figured out my setup for this year, and hopefully it was helpful. Besides that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.